We've spoken about companies and their evolution, but Mr. Godrej, I can't not ask you, what are the two biggest challenges for India in 2014? Because we've lost a lot of ground. I think the ease or the unease of doing business in India has been very palpable across sectors. For the new government that comes, for businessmen like you, what are the two big challenges that we have to address if we have to get back?
Well, if you look at the country as a whole, I think the challenge is to get growth going. We've had very low rates of growth. We've been used earlier to 8% plus growth, and we've suddenly fallen to around 5% or even lower. So we must get growth going. And as you rightly put it, ease of doing business must be improved, because across the board it's very difficult. It's been made difficult for various reasons. I mean, we know it. We don't have to go into the details. So that has to be improved. And there are some reforms which can quickly add to growth. For example, if you bring in the goods and services tax, you'll add 2 percentage points to GDP growth overnight. The day it is enacted, it'll add 2 percentage points of growth. It's a huge opportunity, and that in turn would lead to a lot of other. So a good government, think it out. Now, to my mind, why has GST been delayed? Because the government has not taken the opposition into confidence. The opposition was asking for some concessions, you should give it. You more than make up once the GST is implemented. So I think we must learn to work together, government and opposition and government. So if we can get that going, if a good government comes into place, gets it going, I think it won't be very difficult to get back to an 8% growth rate, 8% plus growth rate.
In the Indian context, a lot of controls have also been put on the pharmaceutical industry. I think the pharmaceutical industry has been fighting many pitched battles with the government. What would you like to see from a governance point of view, if it can change sentiment within the industry?
Yeah, I think I've always been a great advocate of administrative reforms, as Mr. Godrej said, and more importantly, I think any industry, not only pharma industry, is best managed when it is market-driven and market-controlled. I don't think government needs to control, all this Jan Aushadhi program and, force-fitting something which is not existing. It creates aberrations which are very difficult to take care, and that it gives rise to, germination of small-time manufacturers who can shortcut quality, who can shortcut things, and that is bringing its own, ill to the whole system. I can tell you that even before this national list of essential medicines came and the prices were cut, at the erstwhile NPP, or even today it is there, the National Pricing Authority, there are many products in the market which sell cheaper below the price actually designated by NPPA, because the competition so decides.
Sure.
And therefore, there is so much evidence in the marketplace that market dynamics is the best driver of business. You don't have to do anything. You just do the administrative reforms, let the passage of, don't make it so difficult for people to get permissions and people to get, their way and their passage to business. As long as they do that, it's more than enough,
Mr. Venkatraman, what do you think the government can do? The two things that can really turn around
we have gone away from encouraging manufacturing over the last 7-8 years. On one side, you say you're going to have a great demographic advantage of having so many youngsters coming out from agriculture and from other places. It can be a disaster if you don't encourage manufacturing. Now, during the time, in the same time, most of our peers, countries in the BRIC and other regions, have given a concept that, okay, you can come from with outside technology, but do the manufacturing here. Not that you become a trading nation. So we sincerely hope that the manufacturing encouraged. It's a shame in our country that 145,000 crores worth of defense equipment is imported, and there are at least 5 or 6 companies who are even recognized as Raksha Udyog Ratnas and identified along with public sector to be a part of it. So I think if we can say, yes, we are global, everywhere else, you try to enter Malaysia and give some manufactured goods, they say manufacture it here. So you should do the same. It's only normal, and with this great advantage we have good skill training. But what will you do skill training if the fellow can't get a job? So my dream is that it will happen because it's a reality. But there must be a good thrust given to encouraging manufacturing. All our small scale and medium scale industry, especially I'm talking now the capital goods, are all dying. They're all becoming trading people rather than manufacturing people. So I hope the government, the new government that comes, we don't want any favors, but it should encourage value add in this country and on a competitive basis.
Avinash, I'll let you have the last word on this. How do you ensure Indian companies, which have learned a lot of lessons, I think they've identified their path to the next level of growth, how do you get them to sustain the momentum in 2014? And how does India get back into the reckoning? I think the other big thing is the sentiment on India is pretty bad. How do you see these two playing out?
Well, I think, if you look at the history, especially if you look at the globalization that, we are a big part of, I think India had done great 20 years ago in terms of liberalization, putting the right policies in place and kind of keeping away from it. Right? And I think things have worked extremely well. So the government has been a great enabler for that in terms of creating the single window and lots of other things that went along with it. I think listening to everyone out here, I think that is probably what I think the government has been very successful in doing in the past, and that's what it needs to do, is act as an enabler in that sense. Also, if you look at the globalization, the companies in India have a very significant opportunity of going to the global market. Right from the pharma to others as well, I think the opportunity for us to take our affordable excellence that we are very good at in India and take it to the global level is a very, very big opportunity. And especially if you look at the talent, I think the talent, as you rightly said, has to be trained to be very industry relevant. And I think part of what is happening from the Skills Development Corporation, including the NSDC, and all the industry groups getting very much involved in making it relevant is important. And I think if you look at the digital, which is going to be a big enabler for it, and this is the country which is digitizing, if you may, and helping a lot of these companies deal with the digital disruption, it's India. And we should be able to apply what we're helping the global companies in India itself.
Mr. Godrej, you've always been optimistic, and that's one thing that has held true even in the worst of times. What's going to make you smile broader by the end of the year? And what makes you optimistic on India?
I think I'm going to smile broader at the end of the year. I'm pretty sure of it. And I think we've learned our lesson. We've learned what's gone wrong, and I'm sure we'll correct it. I think the next government, whatever format it might come, will see to it that we don't repeat the kind of mistakes we've been making. And the opportunities are big, unlike, like Europe. Europe doesn't know whether to move left, right. They're not able to improve very much. There's not much they can do right now. They'll gradually improve. But we have opportunities. If you say, what is the program that can get us back very quickly to an 8% growth, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you implement it, it's going to happen.